It's safe to say September for Kabam has been an absolute massive L with the Spider Woman nerf, the adaptive event quest situation, and that being a massive L as well, and also the removal of a load of energy refills too, and then sort of giving them back to us. Just a complete L month in general for Kabam. But they've released a dev diary, finding a middle ground, which goes over all these situations. So it's going to go over Spider-Man nerf. It's going to go over a little bit of the adaptive event quest, which I've yet to share my 2 cents on, but I will be doing so in this video. And also for some reason Elder's Marks, because I did read about this energy refuel situation, because I did recognize that I wasn't getting a load of energy refills like I used to. Um, I did not really know about the Elder Marks situation, but that did pique my interest once I heard about it. So yeah, the Spider-Man nerf situation, they have responded, thankfully. Um, and well, I mean, we'll go over it, shall we? So, this whole post is about just communication, but that's been a massive problem with Kabam recently. Is that we've had like buggle communication, really, which a game like this, which has been really, really transparent with the player base over the years, just having none of it whatsoever has been really, really disappointing. So hopefully moving forward, hopefully this is a step in the right direction. This post, and we get more communication from Kabam, because especially with the Spider Woman situation, it's been really, really painful. It's been really, really painful. Um, so the first like couple of paragraphs is basically saying like holding their hands up, saying we done fucked up, which it is nice to hear, but I think after this month, it's not good enough in my opinion, and I'm probably not alone in that. So we'll start off with Spider Woman, shall we? So we stated that Spider Woman's update was intended to address her defensive threat, which it did, but it also took away her offensively in some regards. But the changes outlined also had a large impact on her offensive capabilities. No shit. This disconnect from our stated goals, and the purpose adjustment was a significant oversight. That was my main problem with the Spider-Woman nerf, is that yeah, okay, taking away her ensnare is fine on like defensively, but it's taken away something from offense. Because for those of you who don't know, ensnare, it stops the opponent evading, which is really, really nice. And it also has a 30% in Spider-Woman's case, 30% ability accuracy adaptation, not offensively or defensively, just overall. It stops. It has a 30% chance of stopping opponents' abilities, which again is nice to have. But with the whole Spider-Man situation, they said they're taking that away, which it takes away Spider-Woman's ability to counter evading champions. But the ability actually reduction again was nice to have. It didn't trigger all the time, but it was nice to it was nice when it did happen, which is one of my main frustrations with it. Another main frustration I have at post is right at the end saying that they didn't want this game to be overcrowded with a load of strong defenders. This game at the moment is already overcrowded with strong defenders at the moment, because they've just been coming out with so much, whether that be 5 out of 5 defenders, because I think after watching Vega's video on like their champion attributes, they don't make any sense anymore. Like saying Kate Bishop is a 2 out of 5 on damage is insane, and saying that Destroyer, according to Kabam, is 4 out of 5 in damage and 4 out of 5 defender strength is insane as well. Because Kate Bishop definitely is, well, at her peak was one of the best damage dealers in the game, and I think Destroyer, whilst at the beginning he was an annoying defender, but then once whatever part of pain he was in as a boss, everyone learned how to fight him. So now everyone can easily counter Destroyer. So that was another one of my main problems, is that the fact that they said that there were so many, they wanted to stop there being too many strong defenders whilst having too many strong defenders, and also with their attributes. Now looking back on it, they don't make any sense anymore to me. We understand this rightfully caused confusion and frustration, especially for players who had invested in her. I'm one of those people. Like, when I pulled Spider-Woman, I immediately took her to rank 2, 7-star. I know that's probably not a big deal for some of you, but for me it was. Because if I'm going to commit to a character, I will take them to rank 3. Now I thought, there's a slight chance of her getting nerfed, but I'm willing to take that small chance that she gets nerfed. And I took it. And obviously it is backfired, but they are going to somewhat walk it back. This change substantially reduces her offensive utility. No shit. Which doesn't align with the focus we communicated. That is true. This impacts player experience in a negative way in ways that we did not intend. I think this just goes back to the fact that that post for the Spider-Man balance update was, in hindsight, I think I even said in the video, like, it was very, very poorly worded, and it just didn't make any sense, which really frustrated me and frustrated a lot of the player base, I'm sure. A key goal was keeping Marvel Contest Champions fair, fun, and competitive. I'm going to be honest, some champions you have to fight, they're not fun, they're not fair. I think, Enchantress springs to mind, especially when you don't get her to play the way you want her to. That's on the defensive side when you're fighting her, and, well, Serpent. Our balance program is a cornerstone of this commitment, allowing us to adjust champions who are significantly overperforming to ensure a healthy meta, or underperforming so they see usage across a contest. Now, I've said this in many, many videos. I absolutely do not like the balance updates and these balance batches. The main reason, it takes too long. Like, I don't like waiting 6 months when I see an absolutely amazing character, such as Spider-Woman, but because of this balance team, and they take 6 months to evaluate champions, which I personally think is a little bit too long, but I also kind of get it because of how the Titan Crystal works. Because that gets rolled over to new champions, and older ones get cycled out every 90 days. I kind of see why they have to keep it to 6 months, but I think 6 months for a champion to be rebalanced, quote unquote, I just think it's too long. And with these balance batches, like, we had to wait a year and like a month or two after Patriot's release for him to get buffed, and he's better than he was, but he's still not very good. And this year with Falcon Joaquin Torres, yes, he's getting buffed, but that buff is releasing in January. That's 11 months after the champion's already been released. So it's just taking too long. It is just taking far too long for these balance changes to come out, whether that be for Kabam to announce they're getting buffed or nerfed, and then like another like 6 months or 5 months, depending on when the champion was released, for that champion's nerf or buff to be in the game. It's just taking too long. But with Spider-Woman's situation, hopefully there's going to be better clarity, because I'm now really concerned. I really want to take Nico Minoru and Carolina Dean up to rank 3 and possibly both from rank 4. But I don't want to invest in them until I really find out if they're going to be balanced or not. So where were we? If you fought on Node 42 in Alliance War, I don't play high tier Alliance War, so I can't speak on that. While we strongly stand by the need for balance changes to maintain long and short term game health, we recognise the execution on this one wasn't up to our standards. The execution, absolutely way off. Absolutely way off. So what's the plan, man? To be entirely candid, there was a breakdown in our internal process for the Spider-Woman update. The changes were implemented through the proper channels, but this process revealed opportunities for improving the approval framework internally. Whatever that means, I would like that sentence, or just those couple of sentences. I wouldn't mind getting clarification on that. I doubt that we will. I would just like because that is a lot of big words, and they could mean a lot of different things to the player base and Kabam, in my personal opinion. The current process led to a lack of clarity and inadequate communication to you. No shit, which was a mistake, and we take full responsibility for it. That is, I suppose that's nice to see, but I think that this whole situation with Spider-Woman has burnt a lot of trust, myself included, with the player base that Kabam, the trust that Kabam has built through 10 years of this game. I think a lot of it has been burnt, depending on who you ask in regards to this situation. After taking all this in, we are going to be adjusting Spider-Woman's update to better align with our goals, while keeping the identity of Spider-Woman intact on offense. We will still be removing Ensnare from a kit, okay, as we feel the general ability accuracy reduction is what made her unhealthy on defense. I agree. You could still, put it as a defender. This is not talking about in Spider-Woman's kit. As defender, Spider-Woman cannot place the ensnare debuff on the opponent. I think a lot of people were saying that. I think I said that. But alongside this removal, so while her fumble is active, her opponent will not be able to evade. So fumble is a debuff which allows the opponent. You can't with fumble. You can't dex special attacks as a attacker, which is really, really annoying. I don't like undexable specials. Serpent comes to mind, Photon as well. Undexable specials are not fun. But I'm glad they are keeping the evade. Oh, my nose is so runny. I'm glad that they're keeping the evade for Spider-Woman. The evade counter on Spider-Woman through her fumble. Because, one thing to note, since her fumble is severe debuff, so it can't be purified or cleansed by a champion, this makes her even stronger and a more reliable evade counter. So that is... Yes, she's getting like nerfed and buffed at the same time, kind of, Spider-Woman, if you really think about it. So this has sort of, poured some ice cold water on the burn. But the burn's still a little bit sore. It's probably one of the most weird analogies I've ever used, but Yeah. A key point here is that we won't reverse every unpopular decision just because it's controversial. If we believe it's ultimately the right call for the game's overall benefit. I do. I know Kabam say they do. Well, obviously they do play their own game because they've got to play test the new champions and like all the and well sometimes it looks like they don't play test everything. Um, but it would be nice if they just ask members of the CCP. Like okay, so these balance, they're a certain champions balance update is coming up, and what do you think needs to be done about them? Like we've got these ideas in mind, but what would the as voices of the community, because that's what the CCP is for, the content creator program, I think is part of. What do you think the overall sentiment of a player base would be if we did this and this and this to a certain champion? I wonder if they'd do something like that. Maybe not, but that is a a solution maybe to the problem. Maybe. Honestly, I'm not a game developer, so in this situation, based on your feedback and after careful review, we believe we could have chosen a better course of action, and it would be stubborn on our part to double down. I kind of feel they did double down on that post. Instead of taking the time to reevaluate and course correct a better outcome. So, yeah, I'm content with this Spider-Woman update nerf buff thing. I'm content with it. I'm not overly happy about it, but I am content with it. So hopefully this will lead to better communication with next champion with the next rebalanced champions, which I believe one of those includes Dark Phoenix, which is going to be a lot of fun for that to read because she was a paywall champion. So I imagine she gets nerfed and it's worded like Spider-Woman's Spider-Woman's is. It's going to be a lot of people who paid money for Dark Phoenix. And if she gets nerfed and it's not properly explained why, there's going to be a lot of outcry for those people who paid money. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So adaptive event quest updates. So my thoughts on adaptive event quest, I don't like it. The fact that we have to do one run of classic really stings. I thought we'd gotten to a really good point where if you wanted to do the lower tier stuff, you could. And if you just wanted to do, the Paragon Gauntlet and the Valiant Gauntlet, you could. The one thing I would change about the Valiant Gauntlet is just go back to how it was like when we first got it, with just like one continuous path with a load of my nose. I might just have to go blow my nose real quick. So as I was saying, I think we got to the thing I would change about the Valiant quest is just make it one continuous lane and not one where it splits off into two separate lanes and divide it in between like different class types, and we have to do the last 3 chapters twice because it had 2 lanes. We just kept it as the first Valiant Gauntlet, and we would have been really good place. I think that again with the Elder difficulty, it has more fights in it than the last 2 like Act 7, Act 8 Crucibles. It had more fights in the Elder difficulty event quest than the Crucible. That is too many fights. Way too many. I think it should be limited, especially if you have a limited roster. Especially with different class types. I think it should be limited to, because I think it was like for each chapter it was like 15 fights. I would put it down to maybe 12 fights, maybe even 10. And that's 60 fights in total. That is what I would do. not to mention, it was Elder difficulty was overtuned in terms of the defender's attack, because you take like one combo. I was watching videos that you take one combo to the face and you'd almost be dead. If not, you would be, and that's not fun. I also think that the choice nodes, there needs to be one or two where you can heal from halfway through, because they don't function like the Crucible ones. Because the Crucible choice nodes, they function that when you choose your next champion to use, they get healed up to full. Now that doesn't happen in Elder difficulty. There needs to be at least one choice node where you can heal up, or either like the Incursions one where you can either choose to bring in a new character or heal up, or something like that. So yeah, and also the rewards like breakdown because of prestige, I also don't like. Just why and also it was also hard to find out what rewards you got as well, because there wasn't like a pop-up like with when you did the end of a quest. It was like, oh, here's all the rewards you got. It'd be nice if you did, when you unlock the next milestone, or however many you unlock by doing a path in Elder difficulty, be nice to see what you've just unlocked through like the pop-up screen at the end. That would be very, very nice too. Because I was actually like, I was thinking like, did I get what rewards did I get this time, and what's up next? Something like that would be nice. Kind of like how the incursions is laid out. So after you do an incursion section pops up with current rewards you got, and then do next rewards for the next zone. That'd be nice as well. So yeah, as we said that we would significantly be reducing the attack and health values in the classic and elder difficulties, as we didn't realise the scope in which our casual players utilise the event quest as their main source of gameplay. Event quests should be like one of the main things that you should focus on as like a progressing player, because before this adaptive difficulty, the rewards were not too bad. But yeah, so in summary, we cover values by 30%, which is a significant margin. For emergency update. Well, I believe we landed in a solid spot for Elder difficulty, with only being one for Classic. We feel is not enough for some of our casual players. So we're following changes for the next event quest, which launches next week, October 8th. So we're reducing the health defenders in Classic even further, which is fine, but I don't, as a Valiant player myself, we know. Just allow us to skip Classic and do Valiant, please. It was so nice not having to do Thronebreaker EQ and then do Valiant Gauntlet or Paragon Gauntlet. It was so nice. We'll be launching Elder difficulty for Cavalier and Thronebreaker players, because remember, they exist as well. That's not a joke, by the way. I do think sometimes Kabam forget that Cavalier, Thronebreaker, and Paragon players actually exist. Where is it they mention about? Oh yeah, requiring Classic runs. We have full intentions to allow Valiant players to buy Classic in the near future. Good. However, this requires additional engineering work that we don't currently have the capacity to support due to other features already in progress so far for this year. So we won't be able to put it in immediately, but we are targeting early next year for when we should be able to add this feature. Do keep in mind that while it's a few months out, Classic should move much quicker due to the reduction in health caps across the maps. Okay. Again, that is a middle ground, so I am willing to wait, but I would just like to get back to, we don't have to do Classic to get Elder difficulty unlocked. I want to get back to that state. I really, really do. A decision on Elders Marks and Battlegrounds. So to round off this December dev diary, we have to talk about energy and Elders Marks. As you know, we had intentions to overhaul the energy economy to maintain pacing, and make different modes of gameplay feel more meaningful than they have been. When we communicate a plan to pivot, we said that we are taking your concerns about the elder marks removal to heart, and we really are evaluating. I don't remember that. I must have missed that. Removing elders marks? No fucking thanks. I'd like if I don't have to spend energy to play Battlegrounds. I really don't. I really like that. And like the energy thing, like they didn't even communicate that. It was just it just became the fact that we've just lost a load of energy refills. Where have they gone? Why is Kabam taking this away from us? Again, communication, because I don't think that was communicated. The only time it was communicated was when everyone found out. You know, it's like that graph. The more you fuck about, the more you find out. I think, jeez. So we took a lot of time to consider all possible options, and we are happy to able to tell you that Elders Marks will be staying. Thank you. And will act as an exclusive entry into competitive ranked battlegrounds. So are they gonna introduce unranked battlegrounds then, I take it? Not like friendlies, just like you can just find a match and play unranked battlegrounds, because that'd be quite nice. Now Elders Marks will no longer be directly purchasable for units. However, you can convert 15 energy into Elders Marks at any time in an unlimited fashion. That's an interesting change. There's the maths if you want to do that. I don't do maths on this channel, unless it's very simple maths. I did pass my maths GCSE, by the way. I just don't like doing mental maths, especially at this time in the morning, even though it's right there in front of me. So why are we doing this? We want a proper way to distinguish ranked and unranked Battlegrounds entry queues. Okay, so they are doing unranked Battlegrounds matches for Season 34, which is next season's Battlegrounds. And it will match you with your opponent based on the size of your roster. Nice. Because I absolutely despise, even though I this season of Battlegrounds, I'm actually doing quite well with my victory track climb. But maybe because I just like the meta. The meta's kind of fun. So, yeah. Anyway, we feel this update is long overdue. Like, I remember the last dev diary they were talking about this, and they were also talking about like changing up the meta of Battlegrounds, like having like 5 bans, for example, instead of the usual 3. Or like having an increased or decreased Dex roster. I wouldn't mind that coming as well. Especially in like, maybe not competitively, but just like unranked. Or maybe just like for, just to keep metas more interesting. We'll give summoners with small rosters a size and avenue to play the mode without being forced to match up against accounts much larger. That is down to, I don't like the way the matchmaking system is in Battlegrounds, but a topic for another day. So changes to prevent further missteps. Because this video is dragging on a little bit. So enhanced internal review processes to ensure alignment, to ensure all adjustments align with our design philosophy and receive proper approvals. Improve pre-release testing and confirm changes to match for intended purposes. So yeah. Oh yeah, and also we got a live stream on the 3rd of October. And this is just, if you want to read this, go just you can read it if you want, but it's just like, be excited for new stuff, consume product and then get excited for more new products, Isn't that how some Star Wars fans are going right now at the moment? Just consume and consume and consume. Just don't criticize. Just consume more product because everyone likes new product. So yeah, I mean, overall, yes, this is a middle ground, so they definitely have achieved their goal. But I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of middle grounds, because if you stay in the middle ground, you know, it is a scary thing to do. So yeah, I'm content with a Spider Woman update balance thing. I am. So there's that. I hope they are able to speed up the fact that their elder or just the event quest in general. I hope the changes come a little bit sooner, such as like we don't have to do classic difficulty. Maybe just nerf it, or just like decrease the health pools as well in Valiant Gauntlet or whatever it's called, Elder difficulty. Maybe. It's nice to see that we've got unranked battlegrounds finally. Um, as well for those players who have the smaller rosters and don't want to get stamped on by people who spend a lot of money on this game or just like have a lot of rank 4s and rank 3s as 7 stars. So yeah, hopefully this post is a step this post is a step in the right direction. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that cautiously is doing a lot of heavy lifting. So yeah, if you enjoy this video, feel free to like it, dislike if you disliked it, and if you like this video, check out some other content on this channel, and if you like my other content on this channel, feel free to turn that red subscribe button to grey, and I shall see you all in the next one. Goodbye.